Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform. My name is Amechi Anakwena. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning in the nation's capital, Abuja. Some protests in Maiduguri yesterday. Some mobile policemen protested over a 5-month allowance yet to be paid. The force headquarters says it was not a protest. It was an inquiry that the policemen went to the state command headquarters to make about their outstanding salaries. But it's obvious from the pictures we are seeing that it was a protest. And again, what I consider an insult to the sensibilities of Nigerians coming from the spokesperson of the force headquarters, Mushud Jimohu, authored that statement. But beyond that, there are some concerns about the welfare and well-being of officers and men of the Nigerian police force. Most of them have their salaries slashed through some complications with the Integrated Personnel Payment Information System, IPPIS. We hope efforts are being made to quickly ensure that these problems are sorted out so that those that keep us safe during the day and night are well remunerated. We know how servicemen, police officers are deployed to different locations across the country. Every day we get complaints that this deployment comes without their allowances being paid. Like those in Borno State, Maiduguri said yesterday, no accommodation, they sleep in the open, and nobody cares for them. And these are people that we have entrusted with our lives and our security. An inquiry needs to be carried out. The Inspector General of Police, who were told, was summoned to the Asoro Presidential Villa, Abuja, for explanations. When you see police commissioners take up advertisements on the pages of the newspapers to congratulate and pledge solidarity to the Inspector General of Police, you begin to ask questions such as one of our listeners wrote in some time ago to ask us, where did they get the money? Is it money meant for officers and men, or is it from their personal pocket? These are the questions we should be posing to those that have brought Nigeria to shame and embarrassment. Sambo Dasuki, retired National Security Advisor, was granted bail by a federal high court yesterday. Many newspapers said the 5th time he's getting bail without being released by the government. But one of the newspapers, Daily Trust, said no. It was the night bail that was granted to Sambo Dasuki. Will the government respect this time around? That's another question. The National Assembly has transmitted the amended Electoral Act bill to the presidency for assent. If you recall, the first amendment that included reordering of the election was thrown away by the president, forcing the National Assembly to pass it without that controversial clause. And again, the presidency is blaming politicians for sponsoring and perpetrating the killings going on across the country. This time around, it's coming from the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garuba Shehu. Now, what is happening to the new PDP? One of them, Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, has officially dumped his party. APC has not declared for any party yet. Hakim Baba Ahmed, a retired permanent secretary, a technocrat of repute, is currently the chief of staff to Senate President Bukola Saraki. The officials and aides of the Senate President have said the action of Hakim Baba Ahmed should not be linked with the political fortunes and future of his boss, Bukola Saraki. But in reality, it will be very difficult to just do that, separate the two. PDP's number of aspirants has grown to 11. We heard the party is making efforts to prune them down so that they don't really pose a problem to the party. And talking of the killings going on across the country, feelers from the camp of the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu indicates that he's set to sponsor a bill that will see to the amendment of the Constitution to create a situation where states can operate their own police. That's the state police, decentralizing the police structure in the country. Many believe is the way to go. So let's wait whether we see that action this week or possibly early next week, and how the National Assembly members will respond to it. Now, do you know you can buy Nigeria's permanent voter card online? It was advertised on a site, a Chinese online sales site, Alibaba.com. But in INEC and stakeholders quickly moved in and appealed to the Chinese website to pull it down. It came at a time there were allegations that the cloning of Nigeria's PVC is the order of the day. So which one are they putting up for sale? The clone ones or the original ones? Very funny issues and drama happening ahead of the 2019 elections. My colleague is there, Uju Ejeye. Welcome to Political Platform.
Thank you, Amechi. Amechi, it's a worrisome thing that the PVC, the main ingredient of any form of political change through credible elections, is being bandied on the internet for sale for whatever reason. I mean, it should never. One would have thought that the electoral umpire would have guarded the PVC so well that there would be no room for this kind of thing. And coming at the time that the opposition parties and some persons are alleging that the INEC chairman is not suitable for the 2019 elections. Some of them are demanding that he resign, he steps down, and then this kind of thing is happening. It begins to raise a lot of questions. Already, the credibility of the process is being questioned even before it commences. And as such, everything should have been done to prevent this kind of situation. I think that a high-level investigation should be instituted into this issue so that at least both Nigerians and the other participating political parties can have confidence in whatever process that emerges come 2019. As for the chief of staff of the Senate president that moved, well, you and I know.
Funny enough, Hakim Baba Ahmed was the returning officer to President Muhammad Buhari during the 2015 general election. He was his representative, his main agent at the collation center where the result was put together. And he says the party has failed and he cannot continue to associate with failure.
Well, a lot of Nigerians also feel that way. At the same time, you also have some who are ready to do anything to ensure that the president returns in 2019. I think it's every man to his tent in this case. But you and I know that politically, when things start happening like this, we saw the PDP convention. It didn't start happening the first week, but by the second week, we saw reactions. Maybe we are beginning to see some of the reactions that would also trade the APC convention, because the kind of things we saw that day, the way they fought at the Delta stand, the Southeast, the Imo State stand, and then of course you had the one from Rivers State. There were so many states, and it was something that in spite of the action by the president's men, gaining some consensus on the spot, because some people who were saying no way, I will not step down, eventually stepped down on the day of that convention. But there were some cases that they just could not resolve, no matter the horse trading and whatever that they deployed, it just didn't work. So I think that we're still yet to see more reactions, more so for the PDP that boasts of a group of very eminent Nigerians. You would agree with me?
That are already willing to jump at the slightest provocation. They said they will be taking a decision later this week to see whether indeed they will leave the party, the APC, or remain behind.
I think that the APC still has an opportunity to keep them if the party is really willing to keep them. It's just a matter of giving and taking.
Negotiations. And of course, the issue of whether the president will be meeting with them is still out there. They want a meeting with the president, but they have met severally with party leaders and the vice president, which the APC believes is enough. But let's see. We have meetings that have been going on by the members in Abuja at the residence of one of their members, and any moment from now they take a decision over their political future. Thank you so much for the mails. Now let's further bring in our guest analyst for the day. One man who's well versed with the issues of security in Nigeria, especially the operations of the Nigerian police. He's a journalist and a security expert, but he's more popularly known as the civilian IGP, that's the Civilian Inspector General of Police, because of his vast knowledge and interactions with the Nigerian police. I'm talking about Ben Okeze. Thank you so much for joining us, Ben.
Ben, good morning. It's Civilian IG, not Civilian Inspector General of Police.
Okay, Civilian IG.
IG, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that clarification. The protest in Maiduguri yesterday, how did you receive the news?
Yeah, I was in Lagos, and then my boy, who is a police officer, called me and then said that, Oga, another thing don't start, because whenever there's a bomb blast there, he calls me. When Boko Haram started, when Yusuf was arrested, I was one of the first journalists that got the information. So I get every information. Even when I went to Sambisa Forest, he was always with me. So he called me, and then he told me that some mobile policemen are agitating for the non-payment of their night duty allowance. I said, where? He said they are all around the police headquarters. I've been in the police headquarters in Maiduguri before. And he said that they are shooting sporadically, preventing everybody from entering the place. Even the deputy commissioner, he was prevented. I said, that is so serious like that. He said, these 9 months they've been owing them. I said, why would they owe them? People that left their states and their family to come and do work, why would you deprive them of their allowances? That's always has been the bane of things that are going wrong.
Okay,
in the police,
we'll come to that. Let me get your reaction on the statement of the first headquarters that it wasn't a protest. It was just some officers who went over there to
make
the
truth, because
inquiries about their...
He can't be saying the truth, because this thing is known to many people. Even Patrick Apambu is in Maiduguri as I speak. And I called him and he said, yes, something like that happened. So why are they trying to, do they think that people are not living in Maiduguri that witnessed this thing? Even hoodlums almost hijacked the thing later until the governor, waded in and assured them that he was going to handle the thing. That's when the whole thing calmed down. If there was no protest, why would the IG summon the commissioner who was not there to start rushing down there if there was no upheaval? So what are they talking about? So they cannot be. I'm sure they are just trying to calm the nerves. But the thing is that they should do the rightful thing. That's the thing. Policemen will not. Policemen, mostly the young ones, will not go on such take such action if their rights are not being tampered with.
Almost on weekly basis, each time we encounter, myself personally, I encounter policemen in their line of duty. They complain bitterly about poor welfare system we put in place. For instance, those in Maiduguri that protested yesterday were mopped up from across the country, different locations, and sent to Maiduguri. They always complain when they are sent on special mission. There are no allowances.
All the allowances are paid. Even before they should not even be owed one day. It's inhuman. They should not be owed one day. The IG should have sat up and monitor, either ask a commissioner, the commissioner in charge of mobile police, to ensure that these boys' allowances are paid. Allowances is different from salary. We are talking of allowances, what they use, they pay them right there. because their salary, they will go back to their base to go and collect it or get alert and all these things. But the allowance is what the boss use, for their upkeep. They have to, police don't feed them. Unlike in the time of MD Abubakar, that he will make sure that there is food, make provision for food, feeding them. He feeds policemen on duty, on night duty. Those are IGs that have an idea. We don't want it. We want a situation whereby these boys should be taken good care of. They should be taken good care. You don't just put them on the street. They are not robots.
No, it's not only the policemen that are deployed on special operations. It's not only policemen that are deployed for special operations. The DSS are deployed, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Civil Defense, Immigration. But we don't come to hear of issue of non-payment of salaries of these people. Why the police? Every time.
Exactly. I was in Sambisa Forest. I fraternized with the Army. Look, we should even thank Bratai. All the policemen, all the military men, even when they die, the man go to their village to go and stay with commiserate with their family, not with police. A policeman will die. They just bury him like a chicken. It's not fair now. It's not fair. They should copy from the military. Look at what the man is doing. They should when it comes to welfare of the men, Buratai should be applauded. But the police is very, very shameful, and the government should do something about it. They should do something about it. It's unfair.
We just have to thank you so much, Ben Okeze, civilian IG, for your intervention.
Yeah, thank you, man. God bless you.
The situation that we are looking at, a lot of people also share the view of Ben Okeze that it's a very, very shameful thing. Usually when you travel out for special assignments, the welfare of the police is something that raises a lot of questions. I recall when we went for the Kogi governorship election, for almost 2 days, policemen were sleeping in their trucks.
They just put them on the back of trucks, drive them to the new location and abandon them.
They were sleeping inside the trucks. Nothing, scattered. Some of them were lying by the pavement of houses, very close to the roadside, and for 2 days they were in that situation. And these are the same people you expect to go and police an election and bring you credible results, when people will come and dangle carrots before them. And apart from that, you also look at a situation where even it provokes anger. A policeman who is risking his life for the nation, it's because that their duty is a matter of life and death, and he's subjected to that kind of treatment. I think that some of the cases that we witness where the policeman probably just goes on rampage or whatever might be even as a result of this psychological trauma foisted on them through this kind of treatment, because a situation where you risk your life and then the nation that you're risking your life, the authorities do not even deem it fit to appreciate and value your life. What kind of reaction would that elicit from you?
We hope we'll take advantage of this incident in Meduguri and really reform the welfare system in the Nigerian police. Deeply take a look at the monies being appropriated for police operations and the ones meant for the welfare of policemen and women who are contributing their quota towards the development of our country. Yes, we heard the IGP was the Inspector General of Police, someone to the villa. We hope that someone will not just end there. Let's do an inquiry into the welfare system for our patrons who have decided to join the police force and help protect their country.
Yes, Amechi, and it shouldn't be the usual fire brigade thing. Just quench this fire. Let's prevent other fires from rising.
Well, talking about the police structure in Nigeria, I know it's a federal police system. It's centrally operated, a central command from Abuja down to the TSCs of the Federation. It was the governor of Zamfara State, Yari, that resigned his position as chief security officer because he claimed he does not effect any influence in security operations in his state because of the federal nature of our police system. And so many people have said a decentralized police structure should be the magic wand to the insecurity ravaging the country. But a lot of people have reservations about what the governors can do with the state police. Governors of the federation, when they conduct local government elections using their state independent electoral commissions, or so-called state independent electoral commissions, what you get is not, they are not just election, but just something you cannot talk about. They say, if you deliver a state police, you can imagine what these governors will do with the state police. But this has not stopped Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu to think of sponsoring a bill in the National Assembly seeking for the establishment of state police. It's going to be quite interesting if this bill comes up. Let's see how the National Assembly members will react to it.
It's going to be an interesting one, like you rightfully noted. But looking at the arguments, honestly, like you've said, if you look at the state conducted elections, it leaves a lot to be desired. And you look at the few times that governors have been able to wield power, even through the judiciary, you see what happens at times. So I think that those who have
it's like we are between the devil and
the deep blue sea. But at the same time, you look at the other side, look at what is happening. It would appear that the federal police architecture is overwhelmed with what is going on, so much crisis here and there. And you look at police welfare, they haven't been able to cope for years. You talk about police facilities, equipment to do the work. They can't come up with enough for the force that we have, even in terms of personnel. The force is not, a policeman to how many Nigerians? You find that the ratio is very, very, very poor. And so some have said, well, if bringing in the state can alleviate or help resolve some of these challenges, then maybe that's what it should be. Maybe the governors will take up some of the financial burden and be able to come up with a better equipped police force, particularly in these trying times of so much insecurity. Either way you look at it, well, I don't know, like you said, between the devil, the deep blue sea, but then we need solutions. Whatever can affect those solutions, we need to
strengthen the other structures and institutions of the governance process at the state level before we do state police. For instance, I was just telling my friend yesterday that the restructuring many are clamoring for in Nigeria have already started with the amendment of the Constitution to guarantee first-line charge for the funding of the state legislature and the judiciary. We need to do more to strengthen the legislature at the state level to check and balance the essexes of the state governors, not just the legislature. We need to cultivate the habit of civil society organizations operating at the state level, strong, influential civil society organizations, empower the media at the state levels, ask other structures of the society to also participate more in their governance process in such a way that the governors will not become tin gods, so that there are other sources of power that can serve as checks and influence some of their some of the input excessive actions they will take if we deliver on state police.
Amici, what I can hear from you is a whole systemic overhaul. You talked about the media, you talked about other institutions of governance. Yes, ideally that we have talked about strong institutions. I noted when that bill was signed into law that it is one of the best things to have happened to Nigeria's democracy, because now that the state legislature is financially independent, of course you see some of the governors would sit up. Of course they would want to come with other carrots, lobbying, the usual thing. They would want to, but then their excesses would have been reduced, knowing fully well that these lawmakers are no longer solely dependent on them, for their welfare and for their pay. It's a very, very good thing. And then we look at other institutions of governance. We have done that. Let's take on the next. You talked about the CSOs. I think that there should be an investigation into the activities of CSOs in this country.
There were moves to monitor some of the operations and begin to register.
Because some of them, there are very genuine ones. We know the genuine ones. We know those who fought to enthrone even democracy in this country. Some of them are still there, like Odumaki and the rest. You have genuine ones, but a lot of others have infiltrated that are using the NGOs, the CSOs, for their own personal gains. And these are the ones that should be fished out. There should be an investigation. Let them be fished out. I have seen a situation where a so-called NGO came for widows, and one organization in the US brought up equipment to give to the widows. As soon as they left, the woman collected everything, and that was the end of it. The widows did not see anything till tomorrow.
But many will agree that registering or clamping down on them may not actually be the solution. But the debate continues. We have come to the end of today's edition. Thank you so much for being part of it. We return for the midweek edition on Wednesday. Please join us there. My name is Amici, and enjoy your day. Busted.